Hello, hello to all my change makers. Oh my goodness, I am so excited for this interview. I can't wait to share our special guest with you today. Some of you have heard about the work that my husband and I did a year ago in North Carolina, where we did a program called Ignite the Spark to eradicate suicide. And this gentleman, we were just so blessed to have him come out and do a concert for us that ultimately helped us to be able to serve some lower income people who were struggling with suicide ideation. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule today. Chris Hendricks, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Cheyenne, and thank you so much for staying on top of me. Things have been moving at a pace that I'm not used to. I'm having a hard time keeping up with myself these days, honestly. So I appreciate you being able to keep up with me. Thank you.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure for sure because I value so much the music that you're creating, and you're sitting right there. I know you are on the edge where you are just going to take off to a whole new level because I know part of your story was that you voluntarily kind of put the music to the side for a while because of family. So please tell people a little bit about your story and your background.
Sure. Music has always sort of been the great equalizer for me. I started singing when I was 4, and that's right around the time that I got diagnosed with cerebral palsy. And the two have sort of gone hand in hand ever since. I always want the music that I make to do the talking, but my condition has always been sort of the lens through which I've been required to view the world. So, music has acted like you know, a megaphone to the masses, but it's also acted like a wonderful friend that I could go to and lean on and lean against. It's been cathartic for me. Writing has always been sort of a pathway through the pain and into purpose for me. My dad was a performer, is a performer, uh, singer, guitar player. That's where I get my music from. And I was blessed to be uh, born with a message that's sort of buried within the music. And the combination of those two things has led to a beautiful roller coaster of a life. And so I spent a lot of my early life really discovering who I was. It's what a lot of us do. Um, and I found value in myself thanks to how my parents raised me and what my parents did for me. Um, my mother, in particular, was very, very good at not just telling me about my own value, but putting me in environments where that value could be seen easily, right? So, for instance, my mom at the age of 7 took me to Disney World, and Disney is not the same today as it was back then. Back then, if you went to Disney World and you wore your scars on the outside, they treated you like royalty.
Wow.
So, my mom took me to the park, pulled me out of school, took me to Disney World, and I didn't have to wait in line for the rides. I could ride the rides as many times as I wanted. People would take like several days to go through one park. We went through all the parks and did everything in 3 or 4 days. Like it was truly a magical experience, and that um, that moment really facilitated how I chose to view myself in my life moving forward. Not necessarily that I was special, but just um, that I had value, that I had something to contribute, and that I could take uh, 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 being noticed and standing out and find ways to use it to my advantage. Um, and I held on to that for a long time, for as long as I could. And then a little bit later, several years later, I kind of had a fight with my shadow self, shall we
Mm,
say.
mm,
Ran into a little bit of the darkness, a little bit of the doubt, and sort of lost myself for a while under the weight of it. I sort of lost sight of what my mom and dad had taught me, because I started hearing things from the outside that were, for lack of a better word, unkind.
mm,
And for some
mm,
reason, my heart and my soul really grabbed hold grabbed hold of those things,
mm,
far too tightly, uh, than I should have. And once again, that the thing that really pulled me out from under that weight was music and songwriting. So middle school and high school, and the short version of it is that middle school and high school were secretly challenging for me. I kind of hid that battle with myself away from my parents and my
mm,
friends.
mm,
Um, but it was music that made me uh, feel safe. It was my parents' um, 70s, 80s, and 90s rock collection that 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 really kept me going. But it was the singer songwriters that um, helped me find my own voice when I started writing my own music. So I kind of took that struggle in middle school and high school and turned it into um, music and songwriting when I was about a junior in college is when I started. And just felt really, really pulled, really called in that direction, despite going to school for physical therapy. Um, I had, I guess you would call it, a friend intervention of sorts. My friends at the time kind of surrounded me and said, you really ought to give this music thing a shot. So, and they convinced me. And so I told my mom at the time that, I know you wanted me to be a physical therapist, mom, but I'm going to try strumming a guitar and singing for the rest of my life. What do you think? And she very very solemnly and very directly um said, I support you, you're a grown man, you can do whatever you want to do, but um you're gonna have to find your own way with this, because like I don't know how to show you the path.
mm,
um and so I had to sort of find my own way with that.
mm.
uh and when you jump without a net, blessings appear in the craziest, most miraculous ways.
Agreed.
And I found jobs, I found places today, and before you knew it, I found a manager, and uh, got some early local success, and then got to travel, and then all of a sudden my mom was like, "What's going on? Like, you're on stage now?" um, and then fast forward a couple of years later, um, uh, after a few successful local releases, and then traveling around to schools all around North Carolina and speaking to young people about their own value, and using music to sort of showcase um, that message. Um, I played a show in California and met a wonderful woman, and that wonderful woman and I are still together to this day. And our union gave me the greatest gift on earth, which is the um, the spunkiest 6-year-old, almost seven. Actually, she turned 7 this month.
Wow.
Um, on the planet. And so fatherhood took over,
Hmm.
as it should.
Yes.
Um, and it was only really the past, I want to say like a year and a half ago, um, that um, my other half pulled me aside, sat me down, and said, "You know, you really, once again, this intervention." She's like, "You're supposed to be a musician. You're supposed to be a keynote speaker. You're supposed to be an advocate. You're supposed to be all of those things." Um, and I was I was selling insurance at the time,
Oh, wow.
and to pay the bills, because I was like, "There's no way I could pay the bills doing music. There's no way I could um, do my duty for my daughter." And it was Heather, my partner, who was like, "You will find a way. We will find a way." Um, she gave me the strength that I needed, and so I started playing again just recently, relatively recently, and once again jumped without a net. Um, Miracles started popping up left and right, and right now I have a wonderful team behind me, and I'm working with the best producers in the world, in my opinion. And I'm coming out with a new 5 song EP. Hopefully, we're going to start recording in July. That's what it's looking like right now, as long as we can maintain um, that timeline. And we're sort of relaunching everything. And I just feel like I have a team of people that know what they're doing, and know social media and know business, and I get to do what I love, which is write songs, write songs that I love with people that I love about people that I love.
Mm,
Doesn't
mm,
get
mm.
better than that.
It truly doesn't. It truly doesn't. And I have to say, I'm so grateful that your mom was willing to hear you out when you said, physical therapy, not so sure, because that's part of my story, is that I went against my mother's wishes for my path, because she wanted to be an electrical engineer, and I found out in later years that I have no IQ for electronics. So that would have been a disaster. So
I
good for
feel
you,
you.
and good for your mom that she at least was willing to give her blessings, even if she didn't know how to guide you in it. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's
It took us some time, but we found our way for sure.
Well, and I think when people take that kind of leap, and it is something where they feel it here, it's amazing the miracles that happen. My husband and I have miracles happen all the time since we've been on the road for the last 6 years ourselves. So we get it for sure. And you've done amazing work in the school system, helping kids to rethink the whole bullying thing. That is huge. I know that you've got a heart for suicide prevention. We appreciate that. You did a lot to help us last year. And we were so grateful for that, how you helped. And then so you've got a website out there, and you've got
I
some
do.
new music coming out. So tell people, how can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Sure. Well, my website currently is www.iamchrishendricks.com. I don't even know if you need to say www dot anymore. It's like ages me a bit, but um, it's the website's being revamped at this moment, but it's very accessible. You can still go there, and um, a lot of my website emphasizes my keynote speaking engagements with businesses and with schools, but there's a slice of it on there that's dedicated to my music. And right now, the new build for the website is going to have like 50, like 2 doors, if you will. One door that leads to speaking, another door that leads to music. But either way, you can't find me without a guitar in my hand. So across all platforms, you can find me at I am Chris Hendricks.
That makes it simple. Simple way to be able to find you for sure. And I've run across a lot of different parents lately who, there's parents who are stepping up in the anti-bullying thing. There's parents who are stepping up to try to help find a good spot for their kids who've been told they're ADD, ADHD. I mean, situations, groups like that, is that still going to be part of your desire, is to be able to help with, programs and fundraising and all that kind of stuff to help folks?
I want to connect with people in any way that I can possibly connect with them. So I want to be with someone wherever they're at, regardless of the age group. I mean, we're all trying to find hope right now.
Yes.
It's people are just so hungry for it. Um, and it's something that I've sort of been obsessed with ever since I was a kid. So, like, no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're experiencing, I just want to bring hope to your doorstep in some capacity, whatever that means. And for me, music is a universal language. And to me, it's the one art form, especially as a songwriter, that you get to keep to yourself and give away at the same time, right?
Mm,
And I want to use that aspect of music to help people see the best version of themselves, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean happy songs all the time. Let me make it clear, okay? I'm going through a little bit of a midlife crisis right now, so it's not all light and sunshine. It's the battle between the light and the dark, and it's constant. And
mhm,
I think there's a big misconception in society right now that, or I should say there's still this really big misconception that rose colored glasses is what saves the day.
mm,
And I'm not so sure that's true. In my experience,
mhm,
I'm learning more and more that people are a lot more comfortable and a lot more balanced with rose tinted glasses, right? So, that way you can sort of find the light in the darkness, but don't ignore the fact that there is darkness, and we got to do our best to be strong and to be vigilant, and when we're going through something, to go through it,
mhm.
not push it down, not push it away. Your shadow self um has value. You can't leave it behind. I mean, there's a
Nope.
reason why Peter Pan had to staple his shadow to himself, right? He wasn't going to fly anywhere unless they were united.
I love that. That's a great analogy for sure. And yeah, I mean, we need to break the silence that keeps that darkness undercover. I mean, that was a big part of our message last year is, in fact, the panel discussion we had at our event has had over 1,200 views on Facebook.
Wow,
So
that's
there's a lot
fantastic.
of people, we reached people. I'm grateful for that, but there were not anywhere near the number of people we thought we might get for the actual in-person event. So people, they know this is an issue, they know that it's a problem, but they don't want to face it, and
Yeah.
that's why I say we got to break the silence, break it wide open, and just make it okay to talk about that dark side of things. That's the only way we stand a chance of moving through it.
Yeah, this is what I say to people like that, right? This is what I offer to them, right? We admit that stigma is sticky.
Mhm.
Stigmas, like, darkness isn't the problem. Stigma's the problem.
Yes.
Um, um, but the dark stuff and you know stigmas themselves, they're sticky things, and not everybody likes to get their hands dirty and sticky. Like, it's not a fun feeling
No.
to experience these things, but like, both sides of this equation, the yin and the yang, is what makes things interesting,
Yeah.
right? I find constant sunshine to be extremely irritating. Eventually I'm like, great, wonderful. Sonny, I'm gonna go back inside now. If we never got a thunderstorm, we would never appreciate the sunlight that came afterwards.
That's
Um,
true.
and just because it's cliche doesn't mean it's not true. You know.
There you go. There you go, for sure. I have to ask one question, just popped into my head. Do you
Sure.
have a favorite song?
Oh, I that is so hard. That is
You've got a
so
lot of
hard.
good ones.
That is so hard. Um, I go through phases. If I absolutely had to give you a favorite song, oh man, it's funny. We're just talking about thunderstorms and the sunshine. Um, I don't know if this is my favorite song, but it's a song that lives with me in my soul. And that song is Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Ooh.
Um, I will always feel a uh, intense magnetism uh, connecting connecting me to that song. It's a debate. It's a debate between that song and When You Wish Upon a Star, which is of course the Disney
Wow.
classic. And it's because I am a kid at heart. Um, and again, that sort of pivotal moment with Disney when I was younger really shaped me. And so as a result, I will I will believe in uh chasing dreams until I am on my deathbed. I'll probably be pursuing my dreams up until the moment I close my eyes, and I will do all that I can while I'm here, but I know that I'm going to leave this plane with unfinished business, and that's fine. I've accepted that. Um, I love living too much to not have left some things on the table when I go.
Wow. Wow. I love that. I love that. Well, as we wrap this up, because I know you've got a daughter to spend time with and a significant other and all that good stuff, as well as getting ready to go out here and just blow off the speakers here with the music that you create. Any final words of wisdom you'd like to leave people with today?
Final words of wisdom. Hmm. I would say if you are going through a hard time right now, lean into whatever art speaks to you the most.
Mm,
Um, whether it's, for me, it's music. For you, it might be painting or paper and a pencil, or maybe it's comedy, or maybe it's acting at the theater, or maybe it's film. Um, but, you know, it just, art to me represents so many facets of healing, right? It can be again that companion that sort of walks with you in the darkness and helps you understand it. It can also be the rocket ship that has just enough fuel to get you beyond the atmosphere and like over that escape velocity that you need to feel like you're floating again. There are just so many things that you can do with art and self-expression. So if you're struggling, whatever the simplest thing that you can do in the moment to lean into your own creativity,
yeah,
whatever that is,
yes.
uh, to help you get to the other side. I just strongly recommend you sort of feel your way through that, because you're not only healing yourself, but you're making something at the same moment that could one day heal someone else.
Mm, yes. Pay it forward. I love it. Thank you so much for your time today, Chris. I appreciate you. I appreciate this. And if nobody has told you this today, hear this. You are a blessing to the world. And I absolutely can't wait for the day when I can look at somebody and go, I knew him before he went boom.
That means so much. Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you to all of our change makers out here. And I'm telling you, if you guys have opportunities where you're looking for somebody to play and sing and be a storyteller at an event, you need to check out this guy. He will not disappoint. So please hear me on that one and check out his website, because this is a guy who's going to go boom. There is no doubt in my mind about it. So we'll see you all in the next interview. And thanks again, Chris, for being here today.